What if I told you that everything you've been taught about dreams being passive, meaningless experiences is actually the greatest lie ever perpetuated about human consciousness? That the very moment you close your eyes each night, you're abandoning the most powerful tool for psychological transformation and reality creation that exists within the human psyche. For decades, I've watched as modern psychology dismissed the dream world as mere neurological housekeeping, random firing of synapses with no meaningful content. But what they failed to understand is that lucid dreaming, the conscious awareness and control within the dream state, represents nothing less than direct access to the collective unconscious, the archetypal realm where all possibility exists in its purest form. You see, when you become lucid in a dream, you're not simply having an interesting sleep experience, you're stepping into what the ancient alchemists called the prima materia, the fundamental substance from which all reality emerges. You're accessing the same creative force that shapes your waking world, but without the limitations imposed by your rational mind and societal conditioning. This isn't mystical speculation. This is the deepest truth about human consciousness that establishment psychology refuses to acknowledge because it would fundamentally threaten their materialist worldview. Most people don't realize they're living as prisoners of their own unconscious projections, trapped in patterns that were established in childhood and reinforced by a culture that profits from their psychological dependence. Every night, they surrender 8 hours of potential transformation to unconscious wandering, missing the opportunity to directly reprogram the very source code of their personality and life experience. But tonight, that changes for you. Most people don't realize that their inability to access lucid dreaming isn't a lack of natural ability, it's the result of systematic conditioning that has severed their connection to the deeper layers of psyche. From the moment we're born, modern civilization teaches us to dismiss the inner world as less real, less important than external reality. We're trained to view dreams as meaningless fantasies, when in fact they represent direct communication from the unconscious mind that contains all the wisdom and creative power we need to transform our lives completely. Consider the symptoms of this disconnection that plague the majority of humanity. They experience recurring nightmares that feel beyond their control, waking up feeling powerless and victimized by their own psyche. They struggle with creative blocks, unable to access the innovative solutions that lie dormant in their unconscious mind. Their problem-solving abilities remain limited to conscious reasoning, cutting them off from the intuitive insights that could revolutionize their approach to every challenge they face. They feel stuck in repetitive behavioral patterns, unable to break free from self-sabotaging cycles that seem to operate independently of their conscious will. What's particularly tragic is how these individuals remain trapped in the illusion that their waking consciousness represents the totality of their being. They identify completely with their ego personality, never realizing that this represents perhaps 5% of their total psychological capacity. The remaining 95%, the vast unconscious realm containing all their unrealized potential, their suppressed creative genius, their capacity for profound psychological healing, remains forever inaccessible because they've never learned to navigate the dream world consciously. These problems compound in devastating ways throughout their lives. Without access to the unconscious wisdom available through lucid dreaming, they make decisions based solely on limited conscious awareness, missing crucial information that could guide them toward optimal choices. their creativity remains stunted because they can't tap into the archetypal realm where all original ideas originate. Their emotional healing progresses slowly, if at all, because they can't directly confront and integrate the shadow aspects of their personality that only reveal themselves in dreams. They remain psychological children, dependent on external authorities for guidance, when they could be accessing the inner wise teacher that exists within every human psyche. The hidden costs of this disconnection are staggering. Decades pass without meaningful psychological growth. Relationships fail because individuals can't understand the unconscious projections that create conflict and misunderstanding. Career paths remain unfulfilling because people can't access the deeper sense of purpose that only emerges when conscious and unconscious minds work in harmony. Physical health deteriorates because the body carries the burden of unprocessed psychological material that could be resolved through dream work. Entire lifespans are wasted in psychological infancy when individuals could be experiencing the profound transformation and self-realization that represents humanity's true potential. Why do conventional approaches to personal development and psychological healing fail so consistently? Because they operate exclusively at the level of conscious mind, attempting to solve problems that originate in the unconscious realm. It's like trying to fix a computer program by polishing the monitor. You're working with the surface manifestation while ignoring the underlying code that creates the experience. Traditional therapy, self-help books, motivational seminars, all of these approaches remain limited because they can't access the source level where lasting change actually occurs. I'm going to share with you 5 scientifically backed methods that elite performers and psychological pioneers have used throughout history to master lucid dreaming and harness its transformative power. These aren't New Age fantasies or wishful thinking. These are precise techniques based on decades of research into consciousness, supported by neuroscientific studies showing measurable changes in brain activity and psychological functioning among lucid dreamers. When you master these methods, you'll never approach personal transformation the same way again. You'll understand that every limitation you've accepted about yourself, every stuck pattern you've struggled with, every creative block you've encountered, represents nothing more than insufficient access to your unconscious resources. You'll discover that what you've called your personality is actually just the tip of an iceberg, and beneath the surface lies a vast reservoir of wisdom, creativity, and transformative power that's been waiting your entire life for you to claim it. The research is undeniable. Studies conducted at Harvard Medical School show that lucid dreamers demonstrate enhanced problem-solving abilities, increased creativity scores, and measurable improvements in emotional regulation compared to non-lucid dreamers. Neuroscientist Dr. Ursula Voss's research at Johann Wolfgang Goethe University reveals that lucid dreaming activates gamma brainwaves, the same frequency associated with moments of breakthrough insight and expanded consciousness in meditation masters. The Max Planck Institute's studies demonstrate that regular lucid dreamers show increased gray matter in areas of the brain associated with self-awareness and metacognition. What distinguishes individuals who successfully access lucid dreaming from those who struggle isn't natural talent or special gifts. It's understanding the precise psychological and neurological mechanisms that create lucid awareness. Elite performers in every field, from athletes to artists to entrepreneurs, instinctively understand that their greatest breakthroughs come not from conscious effort alone, but from learning to collaborate with unconscious intelligence. They've discovered what ancient mystery schools taught for thousands of years, that the dream world isn't separate from waking reality. It's the laboratory where waking reality is manufactured. You'll discover that accessing lucid dreaming consistently isn't about luck or rare natural ability. It's about understanding the specific techniques that work with your brain's natural architecture rather than against it. Over the next several minutes, I'll guide you through a precise methodology that has helped thousands of individuals transform from passive dreamers into conscious navigators of their inner world, capable of accessing unlimited creative resources and profound psychological healing whenever they choose. Most people fundamentally misunderstand what consciousness actually is. They believe consciousness is something that happens to them, a byproduct of brain activity that they observe but can't control. But here's what most people miss. Consciousness isn't a passive receiver of experience. Consciousness is the creative force that constructs experience moment by moment. And in the dream state, this creative process becomes visible and malleable in ways that would seem impossible to the rational mind. Think of consciousness like a movie projector. In waking life, you're so absorbed in watching the movie on the screen that you forget you're the one operating the projector. You identify completely with the characters and storyline, believing that what you're watching is reality itself. But in lucid dreaming, you suddenly remember that you're the projectionist. You realize that you can change the film, adjust the focus, even step into the movie and rewrite the script in real time. Consider consciousness as a vast ocean. Your waking awareness is like a small boat floating on the surface, able to see only a tiny portion of what lies beneath. The waves and currents that move your boat seem mysterious and beyond your control because you can't see their source in the deeper waters. But when you become lucid in dreams, it's as if you dive beneath the surface and discover that you're not just floating on the ocean, you are the ocean. Every wave, every current, every movement is an expression of your own deeper nature that you can learn to direct consciously. From a neurological perspective, what we call normal waking consciousness represents a highly constrained state where the brain's default mode network creates the illusion of a separate self moving through an independent external world. The prefrontal cortex acts like a strict editor, filtering out information that doesn't fit established patterns and beliefs. But during lucid dreaming, this editorial function relaxes while metacognitive awareness increases, creating a unique state where you maintain conscious access to normally unconscious processes, while remaining free from the limiting beliefs that constrain waking experience. The scientific explanation reveals why lucid dreaming is so transformative. When you achieve lucid awareness in dreams, you're experiencing direct access to what neuroscientists call neuroplasticity in action. You can literally observe your brain creating reality and learn to participate in that creative process consciously. The same neural networks that create your dream experience are the ones that construct your perception of waking reality. By learning to navigate and modify the dream state, you're developing skills that automatically transfer to your ability to reshape your waking experience. But here's where most people get trapped in limitation. They experience moments of lucid awareness and immediately try to fulfill conscious desires, flying, meeting celebrities, indulging in wish fulfillment fantasies. They're using dream consciousness like a more exciting video game rather than recognizing it as direct access to the creative source of their entire life experience. Think about a time when you've had a breakthrough insight or creative solution that seemed to come from nowhere. that nowhere is the same source you can learn to access deliberately through lucid dreaming. That moment of knowing something you didn't know a second before. That's your unconscious mind communicating directly with consciousness, and lucid dreaming is simply the most reliable method for establishing that communication channel intentionally. When you try to force lucid dreaming through willpower and conscious effort alone, you're actually working against the natural psychological mechanisms that create lucid awareness. This approach fails because it reinforces the very separation between conscious and unconscious that prevents lucid dreaming in the first place. You're trying to dominate your unconscious mind rather than establishing the collaborative relationship that makes lucid dreaming sustainable and transformative. The conventional understanding treats lucid dreaming as conscious control over unconscious processes, but this misses the deeper truth entirely. Authentic lucid dreaming isn't about ego consciousness taking control of dreams. It's about recognizing that the boundary between conscious and unconscious is an artificial construct that dissolves when you understand the true nature of awareness itself. You don't achieve lucidity by becoming more conscious in dreams. You achieve it by recognizing that you were never unconscious in the first place. This requires a complete redefinition of what you mean by consciousness and control. Most people believe consciousness means thinking, analyzing, and directing experience through mental effort. But the consciousness that enables lucid dreaming is more like pure awareness, a spacious presence that can witness and participate in experience without needing to control or understand it intellectually. It's the difference between being a demanding director trying to micromanage every aspect of a movie production and being a skillful collaborator who understands how to work with the creative process to achieve extraordinary results. The psychological mechanism behind this shift involves what I call lucid surrender, a paradoxical state where you become more conscious by releasing the effort to control consciousness. When you stop trying to force lucid dreams and instead cultivate a relationship with your unconscious mind based on respect and curiosity, lucid awareness emerges naturally. You're not conquering your dreams, you're being invited into deeper collaboration with the creative intelligence that's been constructing your entire life experience all along. This explains why traditional lucid dreaming techniques that focus on reality checks and conscious intent often fail to produce consistent results. They're based on the assumption that more conscious effort creates more consciousness when the opposite is actually true. Sustainable lucid dreaming emerges when you learn to maintain conscious awareness while allowing unconscious creativity to flow freely, creating a dynamic partnership between different aspects of your psyche rather than a power struggle. The common mental blocks that prevent lucid dreaming all stem from misunderstanding this fundamental principle. People approach dreams with the same controlling mindset they use in waking life, trying to impose their conscious agenda on the unconscious realm. They become frustrated when their dreams don't conform to their expectations, not realizing that this frustration itself prevents the receptive state of awareness that enables lucidity. They're like someone trying to have a conversation while talking constantly, never pausing to listen to what the other person might want to communicate. The practical mental shift that enables consistent lucid dreaming involves developing what I call conscious receptivity, maintaining clear awareness while remaining completely open to whatever wants to emerge from the unconscious. This isn't passive observation, it's active collaboration with the creative process that's always operating beneath conscious awareness. You learn to participate in your dreams the way a jazz musician participates in improvisation, fully present and responsive, while allowing the music to evolve organically. Throughout history, elite performers in every field have instinctively understood the power of accessing unconscious resources through dream work. Tesla received many of his breakthrough inventions through lucid dreaming, unconscious interaction with dream imagery. Einstein credited his theory of relativity to insights that first emerged in dreams. Kekulé discovered the ring structure of benzene through a lucid dream where he consciously observed and interacted with the imagery his unconscious mind presented. What these individuals understood is that the conscious mind excels at analysis and execution, but the unconscious mind is where true creativity and breakthrough insights originate. By learning to access this realm deliberately through lucid dreaming, they could tap into unlimited creative resources that their competitors couldn't access. They weren't just using more of their conscious intelligence, they were collaborating with an entirely different form of intelligence that operates according to symbolic, intuitive, and holistic principles, rather than linear, logical reasoning. Modern neuroscientific research confirms what these pioneers discovered through direct experience. Brain imaging studies show that lucid dreamers demonstrate enhanced connectivity between different brain regions, particularly the areas responsible for self-awareness, creative thinking, and emotional regulation. Dr. Martin Dressler's research at the Netherlands Institute for Neuroscience reveals that lucid dreaming activates the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, the same region associated with higher order thinking and metacognition, while maintaining the creative neural patterns typical of REM sleep. The effectiveness of lucid dreaming as a creativity and problem-solving tool lies in its ability to combine rational awareness with access to unconscious processing. When you're lucid in a dream, you can pose specific questions to your unconscious mind and receive immediate symbolic responses that contain solutions your conscious mind couldn't generate alone. You can observe your unconscious mind working through complex problems using forms of intelligence that operate faster and more comprehensively than conscious reasoning. Here's the step-by-step implementation process that transforms sporadic dream recall into consistent lucid awareness. First, you establish what I call dream relationship by keeping a detailed dream journal and approaching your dreams with the same respect and curiosity you'd show a wise teacher. This isn't just recording random events, you're documenting communication from your unconscious mind and learning to recognize its unique symbolic language. Second, you practice reality integration by performing regular reality checks throughout your waking day, but not in the mechanical way most people approach this technique. Instead of simply asking, "Am I dreaming?" you cultivate genuine curiosity about the nature of your current experience. You examine the quality of awareness itself, noticing how consciousness feels different in various states. This develops the metacognitive awareness that spontaneously recognizes dream states. Third, you establish lucid intentions through what I call collaborative goal setting. Rather than demanding specific dream experiences, you approach your unconscious mind as a creative partner, setting general intentions for growth, healing, or creative insight while remaining open to whatever form the response takes. You're not trying to control your dreams, you're establishing a conscious relationship with the dreaming process. Fourth, you practice the wake back to bed technique, but with a crucial modification. Instead of using this time to rehearse lucid dreaming scenarios, you spend these early morning minutes in receptive meditation, cultivating the same quality of aware presence you want to maintain in dreams. You're training your consciousness to remain present and curious rather than immediately jumping into mental activity. The most common mistakes people make involve trying too hard and expecting immediate results. Lucid dreaming develops like any relationship through consistent attention and patient cultivation rather than forced outcomes. Another critical error is using lucid dreams for escapist fantasy rather than engaging with them as opportunities for genuine psychological growth and insight. When you approach lucid dreaming as entertainment rather than development, you're missing its profound transformative potential. The immediate action steps that create momentum begin tonight. Before sleep, spend 5 minutes in conscious dialogue with your unconscious mind, expressing genuine appreciation for the creativity and wisdom it provides through dreams, and setting a gentle intention to remember and engage more consciously with whatever emerges. This isn't visualization or mental effort, it's establishing the respectful relationship that invites deeper collaboration. What makes this systematic approach consistently effective when other methods fail is that it works with your mind's natural architecture rather than against it. Your unconscious mind is already creating elaborate, meaningful experiences every night. This system simply teaches you to participate consciously in that creative process rather than remaining a passive observer. The systematic approach to mastering lucid dreaming operates on the principle of progressive neuroplasticity, gradually training your brain to maintain conscious awareness while allowing unconscious creativity to flourish. Unlike techniques that rely on willpower or mental force, this system works by creating optimal conditions for lucid awareness to emerge naturally, the same way you might create conditions for a garden to flourish rather than trying to force plants to grow. The technical mechanism involves developing what neuroscientists call metacognitive awareness, the ability to be aware of your own awareness without disrupting the underlying creative processes. During normal dreaming, your brain generates rich, complex experiences while your metacognitive centers remain relatively inactive. This system trains you to gently activate these awareness centers while preserving the creative neural patterns that make dreams so vivid and meaningful. Here's the step-by-step process that creates reliable lucid dreaming experiences. Phase 1 involves establishing dream continuity by treating your dream life as equally important as your waking life. You create a dedicated dream journal where you record not just events but emotions, themes, and symbolic patterns, approaching your dreams as meaningful communications from your unconscious mind that deserve the same attention you'd give to important conversations with valued friends. Phase 2 develops awareness anchoring through mindfulness practices that strengthen your ability to maintain present moment awareness without grasping or controlling experience. You practice observing your thoughts, emotions, and sensations with curious detachment throughout your day, developing the same quality of conscious presence you maintain in lucid dreams. This isn't meditation in the traditional sense, it's learning to be a conscious witness to your own experience. Phase 3 establishes intention bridging, where you create a conscious connection between your waking intentions and your dreaming experience. Before sleep, you engage in what I call collaborative visioning, communicating with your unconscious mind about your genuine desires for growth, healing, or creative insight, while remaining completely open to whatever form the response takes. You're not programming specific dream content. You're opening a channel for meaningful communication. Phase 4 implements awareness cultivation through the modified wake back to bed technique combined with lucid meditation. When you wake naturally during the night, instead of immediately trying to return to sleep, you spend 10-15 minutes in a state of relaxed awareness, observing the transition between waking and sleeping consciousness. You're learning to recognize the unique feeling of awareness itself, independent of specific mental content. The before and after transformation scenarios reveal why this system creates such profound changes in people's lives. Before developing lucid dreaming skills, individuals typically experience dreams as random, meaningless events that happen to them passively. They wake up feeling either disturbed by nightmares or vaguely entertained by pleasant dreams, but rarely feel that their dream life contributes meaningfully to their personal growth or problem-solving abilities. After mastering this system, the same individuals report that their dream life becomes an active resource for creativity, emotional healing, and spiritual development. They can access insights and solutions in dreams that their conscious mind couldn't generate alone. They experience accelerated emotional healing as they learn to consciously engage with and integrate shadow aspects of their personality that only appear in dreams. They develop enhanced intuition and decision-making abilities as they learn to collaborate with unconscious wisdom rather than relying solely on rational analysis. The most significant transformation occurs in their relationship with consciousness itself. They stop seeing themselves as victims of unconscious forces and begin experiencing themselves as conscious co-creators of their entire life experience. They understand that the same creative intelligence that constructs their dreams is constantly shaping their waking reality, and they develop skills for collaborating with this intelligence deliberately rather than unconsciously. Why does this system work when others fail? Because it addresses the fundamental psychological resistance that prevents most people from achieving consistent lucid dreaming. Most approaches treat lucid dreaming as a conquest of consciousness over unconsciousness, creating internal conflict that makes lucid awareness difficult to maintain. This system recognizes that sustainable lucid dreaming emerges from psychological integration rather than domination. The sabotage patterns that derail most people's lucid dreaming practice usually stem from unconscious fears about accessing too much personal power or responsibility. When individuals begin having regular lucid dreams, they sometimes experience anxiety about the implications of being able to consciously shape their experience. The unconscious mind may create resistance to protect them from changes they're not ready to integrate. This system includes specific techniques for recognizing and working with these resistance patterns rather than trying to overcome them through force. Now I want to share with you the most powerful lucid dreaming technique that creates immediate tangible results, what I call reality anchoring through conscious touch. This isn't just another visualization exercise or mental technique. This is a physical practice that leverages your body's natural capacity to bridge conscious and unconscious awareness through somatic intelligence. The power of physical action in developing lucid dreaming lies in your nervous system's architecture. Your brain dedicates more neural real estate to processing touch and physical sensation than any other sense. When you engage specific touch-based practices, you're activating the most reliable pathway for maintaining conscious awareness across different states of consciousness. This isn't theory, this is practical application of neuroscience to consciousness development. Here are multiple ways to implement reality anchoring that you can adapt to your personal preferences and lifestyle. The basic version involves establishing what I call consciousness checkpoints throughout your day by touching specific objects while asking yourself, what is the quality of my awareness right now? But instead of mechanical repetition, you approach each checkpoint as a genuine inquiry into the nature of your present experience. The intermediate version incorporates somatic dream preparation, where you spend 5 minutes before sleep consciously touching different parts of your body while setting the intention to maintain this same quality of physical awareness in your dreams. You're creating neural pathways that connect conscious touch with conscious awareness, pathways that remain active during sleep and can trigger lucid recognition in dreams. The advanced version involves lucid touch training, where you practice maintaining conscious awareness of physical sensations while allowing your mind to become dreamlike and associative. You might hold a small object with interesting texture while allowing your thoughts to flow freely, training your brain to maintain sensory awareness even when rational thinking becomes less linear. Historical validation for this approach comes from every mystical tradition that developed sophisticated understanding of consciousness. Tibetan dream yoga practitioners have used physical mudras and breathing techniques for over 1,000 years to maintain awareness during sleep and dreams. The ancient Egyptian dream incubation practices always included specific physical preparations and body positioning. Indigenous shamanic traditions worldwide recognize that consciousness exists in the body, not just the brain, and use physical practices to access non-ordinary states of awareness. What these traditions understood is that consciousness isn't produced by the brain alone, it's a whole body phenomenon. When you learn to maintain conscious connection with your physical body during the transition to sleep, you create a bridge of awareness that can carry you consciously into the dream state. Your body becomes an anchor that prevents complete unconsciousness while allowing the creative dreaming process to unfold naturally. The immediate engagement opportunity starts right now as you're receiving this information. Place your hand on your chest and feel your heart beat while you continue listening. Notice how this simple physical connection changes the quality of your attention. You're not just hearing information, you're embodying it. This is the same quality of embodied awareness that makes lucid dreaming possible. Here's your specific implementation plan. Tonight, choose a small object with interesting texture, a smooth stone, a piece of fabric, anything that feels pleasant to touch. Place it beside your bed where you can reach it easily. Before sleep, hold this object for 2 minutes while setting the gentle intention to maintain this same quality of conscious touch in your dreams. You're not trying to control what happens, you're simply establishing a connection between physical awareness and conscious intention. When you wake during the night, immediately reach for your object and hold it for 30 seconds while recalling any dream content you can remember. This creates a consistent association between conscious touch and dream awareness that strengthens with each repetition. You're literally training your nervous system to recognize and maintain conscious awareness across different states of consciousness. During your day, practice reality anchoring by touching your object, if you carry it, or simply pressing your fingertips together while asking, how conscious am I right now? But approach this as genuine curiosity about your present experience, rather than mechanical habit. You're developing the metacognitive awareness that automatically recognizes when you're dreaming. The momentum building aspect of this practice is crucial to understand. Each time you consciously connect physical sensation with aware presence, you're strengthening neural pathways that support lucid dreaming. Your brain begins to associate conscious touch with conscious awareness so strongly that when you touch things in dreams, which happens constantly, it automatically triggers the recognition that you're dreaming. This practice compounds in powerful ways over time. As your capacity for embodied awareness increases, you'll notice that your overall presence and clarity in waking life improves dramatically. You become more grounded, more present, more capable of accessing intuitive insights in daily situations. The same skills that enable lucid dreaming, embodied awareness, metacognitive clarity, collaboration with unconscious processes, transform every aspect of your conscious experience. The profound shift that occurs when you master these techniques isn't just about having interesting dreams, it's about recognizing that you've always been the conscious creator of your experience, but you've been creating unconsciously. Lucid dreaming simply makes this creative process visible and participatory. When you realize that the same intelligence that constructs your most vivid dreams is constantly shaping your waking reality, everything changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to be fixed, healed, or improved by external methods and begin recognizing yourself as someone who needs to learn how to collaborate more skillfully with the creative intelligence you already possess. You understand that every limitation you've accepted, every pattern you've struggled to change, every creative block you've encountered represents nothing more than insufficient conscious participation in the reality creation process that's operating continuously. This isn't about developing new abilities, it's about recognizing abilities you've always had but haven't learned to use consciously. Every night of your life, your unconscious mind has been creating elaborate, meaningful experiences that demonstrate creative capacities far beyond what your conscious mind believes possible. Lucid dreaming simply teaches you to participate consciously in this creativity rather than remaining a passive observer. When you truly understand this, the traditional victim-creator mentality that underlies most personal development approaches becomes irrelevant. You're not someone who needs to overcome limitations imposed by external circumstances or internal programming. You're someone who needs to learn how to work consciously with the same creative force that's been constructing your entire life experience all along. The certainty that accompanies this understanding isn't based on belief or positive thinking, it's based on direct experience of your own creative nature. When you've consciously participated in creating dream experiences that feel completely real while they're happening, you can never again doubt your capacity to consciously influence your waking experience. You've seen through direct experience that consciousness is creative, not just observational. This explains why previous attempts at personal transformation may have failed or produced only temporary results. Most approaches work exclusively with conscious mind, attempting to create change through willpower, positive thinking, or behavioral modification. But lasting transformation requires engaging the unconscious creativity that actually constructs experience moment by moment. Lucid dreaming provides direct access to this level of reality creation. When you apply these methods consistently, you won't be trying to change your life anymore. You'll be consciously participating in the creative process that's always been shaping your life. You won't be fighting against limiting patterns, you'll be collaborating with the unconscious intelligence that created those patterns to evolve them into more supportive forms. You won't be seeking inspiration from external sources, you'll be accessing the unlimited creativity that exists within your own deeper nature. The implementation begins the moment you choose to treat your unconscious mind as a creative partner rather than an obstacle to overcome. This shift in relationship changes everything. Even before you achieve your first lucid dream, you begin approaching your entire life with curiosity and collaboration rather than struggle and force. Tonight represents a turning point where you stop being a passive recipient of unconscious experience and begin developing into a conscious collaborator with the creative intelligence that shapes every moment of your existence. The techniques I've shared aren't just methods for achieving lucid dreams, they're training in conscious reality creation that will transform every aspect of your life experience. We've come full circle from where we began, from the recognition that everything you've been taught about dreams being passive experiences is a fundamental misunderstanding of consciousness itself. You now understand that lucid dreaming isn't just an interesting sleep phenomenon, it's direct training in the conscious use of the same creative intelligence that constructs your entire reality. The choice before you now is the same choice that every human being faces, though most never recognize it consciously. Will you continue creating your life experience unconsciously, remaining subject to patterns and limitations that feel beyond your control? Or will you accept responsibility for developing conscious collaboration with the creative intelligence that's always been shaping your reality, transforming from a passive victim of circumstance into an active participant in your own conscious evolution? You are not someone who might someday become capable of conscious reality creation. You are someone who has always been creating reality consciously or unconsciously, and tonight you can begin participating in that creation deliberately. You are not someone who needs to overcome the limitations of human consciousness. You are someone who needs to recognize that what you've called limitations are simply the result of unconscious collaboration with creative intelligence that's capable of extraordinary transformation when engaged skillfully. Your next step is not to hope that these techniques might work for you. It's to begin implementing them tonight with the understanding that you're developing skills that will serve every aspect of your life experience. Leave a comment below sharing which technique you're most excited to implement and what specific area of your life you're ready to transform through conscious collaboration with your unconscious creativity. Your commitment to implementation, shared publicly, creates accountability that accelerates your development and inspires others who are ready for this level of consciousness work. The gateway to your unlimited creative potential opens tonight. Step through it consciously.